I'm telling you, mushrooms are a very important part of the community. They're everywhere. And it's so famous that on the bus ride here they were explaining to us what the specialty of the area is and that many people think that after eating them they're going to hallucinate. Cool.
I come from Sanidad, the Republic of Anunciado, so we need to leave a sample. Since the health department director, the local university, and environmental health are involved, you can't investigate there.
They took a sample of the hot pot and told me it's because they are constantly inspected to make sure the soup they're selling is safe for consumers. We just had a problem with the plane ticket. It had never happened to us before, but when we handed over our passport to check in, they told us they couldn't give me my ticket, but they could give it to Noelia. More than 2 years ago, I entered my information incorrectly when I uploaded it to the platform, and I've been buying tickets with that number ever since. The problem is that now we're at an airport that's very close to the border, and here they check every single number, so they weren't going to let me board. Luckily, we arrived almost 3 hours early because we made a mistake and we had time to call the airline to make the change, but it took almost an hour. If we had arrived a little later, it would have been impossible and we would have missed the flight. I'm telling you this so you keep it in mind if you're flying, especially near the border. Be very careful with the information because if even a single number or letter is wrong on your passport, they won't let you fly. And another interesting thing is that here they're much stricter with the inspection. In fact, at the security entrance, I saw some red signs that had the name, identification number, and flight number of a person. One person in particular. And it made me really curious, so I translated it. And it turns out that these are people who probably by accident had a knife and a firecracker slip into their backpacks. So they were fined 200 yuan, which is about 600 Mexican pesos, but the bad part isn't the fine, it's that they publicly shame them. There you have the name and identification number, so everyone knows that so-and-so and what's his name broke the law by trying to bring a knife and a firecracker onto the plane. I tend to believe it was an accident, but now their names will be there, who knows for how long. Anyway, today we're heading to the city of Lijiang, which is a bit further north in Yunnan province, where we'll take a train to Shangri. We're going to spend a few days there to show you what that beautiful ancient city is like. And before we get on the plane, I wanted to show you that this airport is like a bus terminal. It's the international airport of the city of Xishuangbanna, but these are the terminals. This hallway, and there's another one just like it next to it, and that's all there is. I don't know why I thought it was going to be much bigger, because in the photos before coming here it looks like an impressive city, but actually its airport is very small. It doesn't have as many people as I would have thought. In fact, the city of Xishuangbanna has 1,300,000 people, but the service is very good. Honestly, I can't complain. We're used to the impressive airports of giant cities, so let's see how the one in Lijiang is. We're arriving at Lijiang Airport, which is where we're going to start our journey to Shangri-La, and it's really cold. I didn't check the weather. The airport is really interesting and the landing is incredible because the airport is inside a valley. So when the plane is descending, it looks like it's going to crash into the mountain, but at the same time the scenery is spectacular with some crystal clear rivers that look amazing. I was honestly a bit scared because it briefly looked like the plane would land on the mountain. You can't see any airport or any entrance to the valley, and besides, the mountains cause turbulence, so the plane was shaking. It was a bit rough, and yes, I did get nervous. But once we landed, I did some research, and it turns out this airport is over 2,000 meters above sea level. And also, since it's in a mountainous area, there are wind currents that can cause some pretty strong turbulence. And that's why pilots need special certifications to fly in these kinds of places. Even so, it has to be one of the most spectacular landings we've seen on these trips. But the good thing, we're just getting started with airports. A big mistake we made was assuming that the temperature would be the same as in Xishuangbanna. But even so, I never would have expected the airport to be outdoors. All the cold gets in and we're freezing. And I've never come across an airport like this where the terminal is outdoors. It's 8 degrees right now. I don't have a jacket, a sweater or anything. Keep that in mind. If you fly to Lijiang, the airport is outdoors and it's usually cold because of the altitude. Welcome to Lijiang. We're going to take this bus that will take us to the old town.
It cost us 20 yuan per person, and it's not bad if you take a taxi either, because it's about 60.
We're looking for hotels in downtown Lijiang and it's amazing how affordable they are. We're going to look for the best top-ranked ones, which are usually the most expensive. Here I also see some really cool hotels for prices as low as 230 yuan. Look at the rooms. Bathtub, TV, really nice decoration. It has a living room, kitchen, and that costs 84 yuan. No, and if we look for the cheapest ones and you're coming as a backpacker, it's 23 yuan. Hostel. Wow, welcome to Lijiang. Well, we asked the girl on the bus how we could get to a place called Tiger Leaping Board, and she recommended this agency to us. Look, there are all the places you can go. Let's see how much they would charge, just so you have it clear here. Look, this is Yunnan, Dali, Kunming, Lijiang.
Lijiang is like the full tour. How many days of travel do you have in?
We have 1 day in Lijiang and 1 day to go to Shangri-La.
Then the itinerary for Shangri-La is, take a look. The 2-day trip is the same as the group trip. The bus is for 35 people. After visiting the Grape Tree Park, we'll go to the mountain for a feast. On the 2nd day, we'll go to Luxong Villa Grassland, the only one of its kind. Yes, this one.
Right, how many
Days does this one take?
2 days. How many 2-day trips? We already asked here at the tourism agency what would be the most convenient way to carry out our itinerary, because it's a bit ambitious. We want to go to the Tiger Leap Dam, we want to go to Shangri-La, and to a couple of snowy mountains that are very beautiful and shouldn't be missed. If you're here in Lijiang, one is called Jade Dragon Mountain and the other is called Mili Shuisan or something like that. They gave us the tour prices. One is a 2-day tour that takes you to different towns and some places that aren't on our list for 580. And the other one is to the Tiger Leaping Gorge Dam, which is a 1-day tour and costs 280. It includes the ticket and the buses, but I don't know if we're going to do it. You may have noticed that we traveled really light this time, and it wasn't on purpose. The bus took our suitcases. The thing is that we got off and the guide came up to me to give me information about the tours we have that were available, and while we were talking and they were showing us the map, the bus left and took our suitcases with it.
We thought the bus stopped there, but it didn't.
We didn't think they would leave without unloading the suitcases or that they would leave so quickly. So we're left with nothing, and the problem is that we're in a very high area and we're going to an even higher area. Because Shangri-La is at an average altitude of over 3,000 meters. But with these clothes, we couldn't go anywhere. And after here, we had planned to go to Dongbei, which is in the north of China, where it's minus 30 to minus 36 degrees, and we had all our snow clothes with us. We have to go to the station to see if we can recover the suitcases. I don't know why, but they sent us here to pick up our suitcases. Hello?
Is this
The restaurant?
Tian?
And it looks like we have to come here. That's it, right? The bus. I already saw them. There are our poor little suitcases. Hello?
Let's go pick up the suitcases.
These two, thank you. They were recovered easily and no one asked us for anything to take them. Anyone could have done it.
I mean, it's just winter clothes, but imagine if there was something important.
Maybe they told him that 2 foreigners were coming to pick up their suitcases and there aren't many foreigners around here today. But now that we have the suitcases, well, it's time for us to head out to the old town, which has 800 years of history and was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We've already been there before, but we had very little time because we were with other people. And it was just a stopover, so back then we thought it was just a small town. town, but it turns out that it's practically the same size as Yishuangbana and has the same population. In fact, Lijiang has 1,250,000 people, while Xishuangbana has 1,300,000 people. But unlike Xishuangbana, this is not an autonomous prefecture, it's just a city. But that doesn't mean it has less diversity. On the contrary, here you can also find between 23 and 24 different ethnic minorities, and it's very noticeable on the streets. Now that we were passing by a park, we saw the ladies sitting there wearing their beautiful traditional clothing, and throughout the day we're going to see many more. I like how in these cities they have a lot of signs like these promoting tolerance and diversity. Here it says Zhonghua Min Zui Jia Qintong Xinggong Jian Zhong Guoman, saying that all Chinese ethnic minorities are one family and that it's their duty to build the Chinese dream together. And just look at the number of people from different minorities, a nice way to promote tolerance. Being on a bus in this city feels surreal. Like everything around you is incredible, and the people on the bus too. Look how nice it is to ride the bus here. In fact, to some extent, it really reminds me of the city of Kyoto, which also feels like a small town and everything looks kind of old. I found it interesting that here the bus is more expensive than in the city of Xiamen. And Xiamen is much bigger, more developed, it actually has skyscrapers and all that. In fact, here I paid 1.80 while in Xiamen we only paid 1 yuan. And another thing I find really interesting is that if you listen to the announcements are made in different dialects. What's going on? What's going on? It sounds interesting, but I don't understand it at all. It might as well be another language. But here in Lijiang, the written language of the local ethnic minority was a pictographic language, which means they wrote using drawings. It's a very complicated language that has been disappearing, and nowadays not everyone in the Naxi community can read it. There are still experts who dedicate themselves to it, but not just anyone can interpret the pictographic language, nor is it found everywhere. It's interesting, isn't it? Because maybe a drawing that you would think is a bear or a little pig could mean something very profound to them. Later, I'm going to try to research a bit more and show you some of the symbols so you can get an idea of how their language works. But before that, it's important for you to know that 30% of the population of Lijiang belongs to the Naxi people, who are one of the most interesting ethnic minorities in this country. Because it's a matriarchal society, right? Or should I leave? I mean, we were already staying. But as I was saying, the most interesting aspect of the Naxi people is that it's a matriarchal society, which means that the woman is the one who leads the family and is considered the provider of the family unit. Traditionally, the Naxi are polygamous. This means they can have multiple sexual partners and can even have children with different people. In fact, the husband or the father usually doesn't live in the house of the mother or the wife and also isn't obligated to raise the child. This responsibility falls on the mother and her family, on the sisters and brothers, which is why the role of the uncle is very important for them. Let's say it's a very modern society with a much more open mindset than we even have in the West. And I'm sure that throughout this journey we're going to learn much more about them. This is one of the entrances to Delicacies, which is the old city, and it's huge. I think it's mostly pedestrian. I think some motorcycles and electric bikes are allowed, but for the most part it's pedestrian, which makes it very convenient for travelers like us. But the floor is made of that kind of stone where suitcases don't roll, so keep that in mind. Try to find a hotel that's close to the entrance, or there are also some storage places where you can leave your big suitcase. And supposedly the architecture in the old area is Naxi architecture, so pay attention to see if you notice the differences compared to other parts of China we visited. Look, indeed, here is the pictographic language. These are the traditional Chinese characters, and above are the pictographic symbols. The ones I was telling you about, they're all like drawings. In fact, no offense, but they look like children's drawings, like from elementary school, because they have the little stick figure and the plant. This one here looks like a fox or a dog, I don't know. And this guy looks like a friend surfing, but together they're supposed to say the same thing as here. These two characters say Lijiang, which is the name of the city, so my guess is that this would say Lijiang here, but who knows how it's read. Also, here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters, and over there are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are exactly 9 characters. It would be very interesting to know how it's read. Supposedly our hotel is inside this alley. Honestly, a little hard to find, but that's how this city is. It's like a maze. In fact, the guide told us that it's very easy to get lost because the city is huge and it's all made up of alleys like this one. So it took us a little while to find it, but it must be very nice because it had really good reviews online and at a good price. It seems like the search was worth it because look, just this little hotel for 100 yuan. What a beautiful garden. Wow, it's gorgeous. This is our room. Are you Venezuelan? Yes, I'm Venezuelan. Are you Naxi? Yes, I'm Naxi. Is there anything you say in Naxi? Yes. How do you say hello? Thank you. Does that mean hello? She is from the Naxi ethnic minority. She told me that hello is said as Z. CXi is like saying thank you in Mandarin. I don't know. It sounds strange to me. Do you guys understand Naxi? I hardly understand, but are there still people who understand? Yes, there are people who understand. Okay, is it nearby? It's not nearby, it's not nearby. Okay, thank you.
Well, what an amazing hotel we found in this great ancient city. As soon as you walk in, we have a small closet here where you can store some things, and we have a sofa here. And what really surprised me is the bathroom. Look how big it is. We have a smart toilet with lots of buttons, we have the shower, we have a bathtub, and well, the sink. Everything is in a rustic style but modern at the same time. And I always love these wooden details on the doors and windows. They're very traditional in China. And especially in this area, they mix a lot of this like stone with wood. Here, the rest of the room, on this side, there's a table where we can sit and work, but actually this table is meant for tea. In fact, I think you can take this part out from here. I don't know how to do it because I don't make tea, but you can take this part out to do the tea ceremony. And here in China, a lot of people do that as a hobby at home, just because, to relax. It's an excellent way to meditate, I would say. Here we have the bed, the room is super cozy, and the TV is right here in front. And we also have a little terrace that Max and Noelia are already enjoying here, with a view of the garden and the rest of the building, which is also very beautiful. Also, lately the weather has been really nice here in Lijiang. I saw it in the forecast, so that's excellent. Because even though it is cool, since we are getting closer and closer to winter, you can still enjoy being outside.
After checking in, now we're going to look for something to eat because we haven't even had breakfast. And I see here that the old town of the city, or Gucheng as they call it here in China, has 1,127 square kilometers and more than 288,000 inhabitants within this area. They're saying that the old town is huge. And an interesting fact about this ancient city is that it's one of the few that are not walled. Because normally, ancient cities like Xi'an and many others around the country always have a wall that protected them from invaders. But in the case of this ancient city, that's not the case because the founding family was the Mu family, and the character Mu that you're seeing on the screen, if you enclose it in a square, it becomes a different character, which means cornered or trapped. So, was it the founding family or the family that was ruling this part of China at that time? He didn't want it to be written with that character because it was like bad feng shui, a bad omen, a bad sign, if you want to see it that way. So they decided not to build a wall around the city, and that's how it remains to this day. And I understand that the influence of feng shui is very important in this part of China, especially here in the ancient town of Lijiang. They took it very seriously. What do you think? He really wants to try the mushroom hot pot, and it's so famous that on the bus ride here they were telling us that it's the area's special dish. And many people believe that after eating them they're going to hallucinate, they're going to see little elves. He said no, they cook it well here and there's no risk of poisoning, so it should be fine, and Noelia is set on trying it. What do you think of that little motorcycle? This one's motorized, right? Unlike other parts of China, I think here they still have motorbikes, maybe because of the slopes. Look at that cute little dog. Oh, Buya Wobuyor, and there's a sign here that says he doesn't bite, that he's a gentle giant. He's beautiful. I'm telling you, mushrooms are a very important part of the town. They're everywhere, on hats, oh, that's my cat's bag with a mushroom on its head. The little bags are really beautiful. What lovely craftsmanship. We've seen them in many places, but look how pretty these mushroom bags are. They're beautiful and appear not just on bags, but on many decorations. In fact, here in the shop next door, they had dried mushrooms. Here are the mushrooms. They're like dried mushroom magnets. These would sell really well in Oaxaca, I'm sure. And all kinds of mushroom-related decorations. Why do they have so many mushrooms? Well, it turns out that Yunnan province is known as the land of mushrooms, but especially in the Lijiang area because they have a great variety of species here. And it's estimated that there are more than 800 types of edible and medicinal mushrooms in the region. But the most interesting thing is that many of them can't be found anywhere else in the world. Some of the most famous mushrooms are matsutake, yellow chanterelle, and morel mushroom. It would be very difficult for us to identify them. You'd have to be an expert, but fortunately we're in the land of experts. These mushrooms are supposed to have a unique flavor and are highly valued for their natural umami taste and meaty texture. So let's go to the hot pot right away because I'm really excited about trying the local mushrooms. How about the fire truck in Lijiang? This is an ATV that carries hoses here to put out fires. It also has a little roof and its own siren. I imagine this part is for carrying things and it has a fire extinguisher, so if there's any kind of accident, they can get there quickly. Because as you can see, these streets are very narrow. There's no way a fire truck or a car could get through, so they have to manage however they can. Here it says fire truck. And speaking of its alleys, you should know that this city is specifically designed according to the principles of feng shui. That's why I know my mom is going to love it and she can confirm it for you. This ancient town is built at the foot of Jade Dragon Mountain and very close to the river. Because in feng shui, the mountain means protection and the river means abundance. In fact, there are many canals running throughout the city, which in feng shui means the flow of qi in feng shui. Stagnant water is a very bad omen, it's a very bad sign and attracts bad energy. That's why in Chinese cities, they always try to have bodies of water in motion. Also, on the other hand, there are the curved roofs and the dragons that can be found everywhere, which are a sign of protection. And in addition, the houses and streets of the old city are strategically oriented to maximize exposure to the sun and to protect them from the cold winds coming from the mountains. The idea is that by having a favorable orientation for the sun to come in, they are attracting good energies and protecting themselves from the cold winds that represent bad energies. Nothing about the design of this city is an accident. Its alleys, its roofs, its dragons, everything is intentional to create an atmosphere of abundance. And it's not the only city. But it is very evident here. Maybe that's one of the reasons why China has prospered so much. Maybe you're wondering what the characteristic curved roofs mean. Well, it turns out they have a very deep meaning because they represent the bridge between the earthly world and the celestial world. If you notice, they rise toward the sky because it's a design that seeks harmony with the universe, and that's a central concept in feng shui. But also, the curves at the ends are designed to repel evil spirits because according to traditional beliefs, spirits can only move in a straight line. So the curves disorient them and prevent them from entering homes, but also the complexity and design of these curves are supposed to depend on your social status. For example, the family that used to rule Lijiang, which is the Mu family, had their residence right in the heart of the city, which is supposed to be the area with the best feng shui in the region. And later we're going to visit it so you can see what features it has. Different in design, but all after a good hot pot. Is this useful? It's not useful. If you buy it and don't use it, you feel bad. It comes with oxygen canister and I asked if it works, but he said no.
They just look on Chinese social media for photos of Lijiang, and in all the pictures, all the girls are wearing oxygen masks, taking selfies.
Yeah, it's like something representative of the area, and it's because we're supposed to be at over 2,000 meters. But don't worry, honestly, nothing happens. Maybe in Tibet, that's a different story. We're looking for a restaurant that's highly recommended on social media, which is supposed to have a really beautiful view and specializes in mushroom hot pot. but I don't know where it is. This is what we should find. This is what we're expecting. The mushrooms look really good. The restaurant has a great view, but I don't see it. Here it is, here it is, here it is, Chun Watts. They reportedly have a great mushroom selection here, and the little dog looks promising. The menu's all in Chinese, so let's ask for a recommendation. Miya, Women Liang Wei. I want to know if it's this one. This is another place. Wasn't it here, Nekvi? But he'll take us, that's cool. I think it's the same restaurant, but it's like another branch. This one is also nice, but the other one has a balcony. It's better for making content online. We don't know where the chef is taking us, but I think it doesn't matter which alley you go into. This is the most Instagrammable city we visited in the last 24 hours. Just look at these alleys. In part, it reminds me a bit of Suzhou because of its canals, but it has a completely different vibe. And well, this is the restaurant where we're going to eat. It's called the Mushroom Window. It'd be cool if they greeted us with a mushroom basket like that. This is the Mushroom Window. No, yeah, it's awesome. Keep in mind that there aren't any people because it's 3 o'clock. Nobody eats at 3 in China, but it's perfect for us because we have the VIP table. Look, the roof garden is really cool. Imagine if the mushrooms hit you just right, the colors you would see with these little plants, these roofs, this view. As a place to eat, honestly, it's priceless.
This here is the soup we ordered, which I think has about 6 types of mushrooms. Here are some additional ingredients. What I see is that it also has, I think, lamb ribs, dates, and also these little berries here, which are called goji in Chinese, or wild berry. I also found it interesting that here in this part of the menu they have a kind of disclaimer. It's like they exempt themselves from responsibility for what happens in this establishment, because it talks about the cooking process. The mushrooms, they don't sell them to you as wild mushrooms, they don't sell them to you raw, but instead they sell them to you either frozen, dehydrated, or already cooked. It costs 268 and we're paying 257 yuan. Here they're already preparing the delicious food that we're going to taste. It's a mushroom hot pot. Hot pot literally means a hot pot, and it's the same name in Chinese. In Chinese, it's called huo guo. And the story behind this dish is the fact that literally it was a boiling pot, and all the typical food that grew in the area or the local animals were thrown into this pot. So, many parts of China have this type of dish, but with different ingredients that give it a unique flavor.
But while they bring the mushrooms, let me tell you about this dish we have here because it's called Lijiang Baba. Is a type of bread made with flour and oil. It's crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. This one apparently has something like brown sugar. Let's see, it's like it has fruit paste. You can find this food across China, but this version is made in the Lijiang style. So if someone asks, do you want to eat baba? Don't worry, it's probably this dish. If I ate it straight away, did it have drugs? No, so I wouldn't see the bad guys, right? Yes, it's crispy and it's soft, okay? He said you won't see little men, but he didn't say we won't see more colors. Maybe after this, the colors will become more vibrant.
I wonder what effect each of these types of mushrooms will have on the flavor individually. Because even though he told us the name of each one, we don't know anything about mushrooms. For me, it's as if he had said mushroom 1, mushroom 2, mushroom 3, mushroom 4, but it's definitely a dish that looks very appetizing and smells really good. Well, after doing a bit more research about the species of mushrooms that are here, in this pot in front of me, I learned that this mushroom right here is called mushroom sheep's stomach. It looks like a sheep's stomach, and that's why they call it that, but the other name they give it is also morel mushroom. Another mushroom that we also have in this pot is the bamboo mushroom, which is precisely this one we have here that looks like a kind of mushroom. Like an umbrella full of holes, right? The timer just went off, and that means it's time to taste this delicious hot pot.
So we need to keep a sample. So we come over from time to time to do a random inspection. Cool.
What's your name? Mine is Michael, as you'll see. The seller pretended to be...
Well then, let's go. Thank you, Chavo.
I think these are things we leave behind in life, to see in my country.
They took a sample of the hot pot, put my name on it, and took it away. And he told me it's because they are constantly inspected to make sure the soup they're selling is safe for consumers. Probably to make sure they don't have magic. This is a black chicken that he told us also goes inside. In fact, it comes frozen, so it has to go in here for 2 minutes before you can eat it. It's pretty much the same as white chicken, but they say the meat is a bit juicier and firmer and that it has medicinal properties. Here they say it's considered a superfood in traditional medicine because it's known for its healthy properties, making it rich in antioxidants, low in fat, and high in protein. It's also believed to strengthen the immune system and to be energizing for those who consume it. It must be really good, let's put it in. Supposedly you only need to heat it for 2 minutes because it's more about warming it up than actually cooking it, of course.
Each food has a different cooking time. When you go to any kind of hot pot, not just this one, they'll bring you the ingredients and tell you this one for 2 minutes, this one for 1 minute, this one for 10 seconds. There are meats that need to be here for just a very short time.
That looks hallucinogenic, like you're about to eat an alien baby.
Yeah, oh, how horrible. It's really good, it tastes like mushrooms, and it's delicious. It also has pork ribs, which give the broth an excellent flavor. Highly recommended.
It reminds me of a friend's cousin who mentioned mushrooms from Oaxaca. He told me that those contain a substance called psilocybin, but according to what he said, in Oaxaca they drink them as tea. They preserve the mushrooms in honey so they don't lose their hallucinogenic effects, and then they make them into a tea. They boil it. And supposedly making it into tea makes absorption much faster and the effects become noticeable. I want to see if they taste similar. No, they're good, right? These are good. Bye.
I read on the internet that the perfect time to eat this kind of food is actually between June and September. But to me, the perfect time is right now. Because it's a little cold, we're not dying or anything, but you really do enjoy this kind of food much more when it's not hot.
Look at the bamboo fungus, how interesting it looks like a fishing net. And I told Noelia that yes, each one has a pretty unique flavor, not everything tastes the same. Each one leaves you with a different impression. One even came out of my nose. We just finished the delicious meal. It was a lot, it was impossible to finish it, but it was really good. It was truly worth it. During that time, the sun vanished and I saw more colors. Suddenly, everything looks brighter. Let's walk around town to see if anything changed. Are you seeing this too, or am I hallucinating? What the hell is Putin doing here? And aren't these the side effects of the mushroom?
Oh my gosh.
What is this? Oh.
I thought it was a man sleeping.
No! Tell me if I'm not tripping. What are these purple stairs doing here? And then look back there and tell me if this doesn't look like a trip. Just look at this. Putin and I, Noelia, and an epic town. Putin and I, Noelia, and an epic town. Ah!
Now I believe you?
You're tripping. No, and also look at the detail on the wax guy. Ah!
It feels weird to touch it.
I don't know if it's the mushrooms or what's going on, but honestly, this town keeps getting better and better, and it's like being in Snow White's little village, but the Chinese version. Doesn't it look like one of those Disney villages? And suddenly there's more music, more people, and folk performers like this singer here. She sells drums. How beautiful. Suddenly the town came to life. A while ago it was empty and now there are a lot of people. So much life, so many colors. Look, even the outfits of the girls selling jewelry are awesome. Look.
Chilean bread?
Is it from the northeast? What's that? Harbin? I didn't expect to find this in Lijiang because it's very typical of Harbin. It's the dough, they roll it around this cylinder and then put the ice cream in so it ends up like this one here. And in Harbin it's cool because if you turn the cone upside down, nothing happens to it. It's frozen because it's minus 30 degrees. Hello? Sixi, the bread is warm so it's going to melt my ice cream really fast.
It's not the same feeling to eat ice cream in Harbin?
No, it's not. The bread is great, but the ice cream is very different.
I've noticed here in the town that they have really beautiful clothing stores. Especially those that are like blouses and dresses with patterned designs, and they also add little beads and things like that. Blouses, well, I think they weave them somewhere nearby. They're super cute. And well, pants with Chinese fabrics and designs. But the one I liked the most was this one here, which looks pretty traditional. Up ahead we have a sort of food market. On this side they're making a kind of barbecue with meat, veggies and a mix of mushrooms. Look how many they have. The variety is impressive. Hi?
Have we eaten the horno morgas?
What have we? No, that's not it.
That one is finished, huh? Yes, we can go to Parrot Beach. Can I see the dogs? Yes, you can. Look, you ate a mushroom hot pot and the next thing you know, you show up in a place like this with Blanca Nieve Rosa taking a picture. Is it a restaurant? Yes. Isn't it the Morgus oven? Yes, because I just ate the Morgus oven. Do you know there's one here? Look, they also have the oven here. In fact, I think those are even cheaper. It's a giant basket of mushrooms, and a dish is around 38 yuan. And the hot pot, the full set costs 168 or 268 for the most expensive one. But look, just where you would eat, look, come over here, check it out. Just the garden, the tables, the overall atmosphere, it's really trippy. Honestly, I think it would be a perfect combination that would attract a lot of hippie backpackers who would want to come here to try the experience.
They designed this under the influence of magic mushrooms. They can't fool me.
One of the most interesting features of this village and of Naxi culture as well, it's these drawings we're seeing here, which aren't just simple drawings, but actually one of the oldest written languages in the world. And this language, which is known as Dongba, has around 1,400 pictograms. These pictograms don't represent specific words. They can't be fully translated because they're ideas, concepts, dreams, I don't know. This pictographic language has very few elements. The Mandarin Chinese language has tens of thousands of characters with which different words can be formed. And this one is made up of 1,400 pictograms. What are these drawings that we're seeing here?
Another very interesting fact is that nowadays very few people can read it. Most of them are scholars and language experts who are trying to prevent it from being lost. Because being one of the oldest in the world, it has attracted the attention of UNESCO and many countries that want to preserve this language. It's so beautiful that... Additionally, it's worth mentioning that this writing system doesn't have a pronunciation as such. Rather, it's a form of visual communication that uses different symbols. For example, if you draw a sun, it means day. If you draw a moon, it means night. But eventually, this language was replaced by Chinese characters, which are the ones we see everywhere. And there is no longer a school that teaches this writing system as such, which is why it has been disappearing. And it's a shame because they are very beautiful and it's something that gives a very deep identity to the Naxi people. In fact, if you notice here on the restaurant signs, they still use them. Here we have the Chinese characters, we have the word in English, and above there are 3 characters which are the pictograms that were used here in the past. I imagine the pronunciation has nothing to do with it because, as I said, it's a form of visual communication, but that's not the only one. They all have the same pictograms.
Nowadays, Mandarin Chinese looks very geometric and precise, but it actually also started as a pictographic style language. And in Mandarin Chinese, a character is made up of different elements within the same drawing. Let's call it that. And each of those little drawings means something different. And together they form a different idea.
These are the canals I was telling you about, which run throughout the city. And it's said that within the old town there are more than 300 arched bridges like this one, so that the water can pass through, allowing the good energy to keep flowing inside the Ian. Now we're going to enter and see the old mansion of the Mu family, who were the ruling family of the Naxi people during the Yuan, Qing and Ming dynasties. Our tickets cost us 40 yuan, but remember that in China you always get discounts? Yes.
If you're over 60 years old or you're a student.
Let's say this was the forbidden city of the Naxi. Originally, this mansion covered about 16 acres and had around 100 buildings. Obviously, this had to be reduced to expand the part of the old town open to visitors. And also, a large part of this city was destroyed during the conflicts of the Qing dynasty, so it no longer made sense to preserve them.
Once you visit many epic Chinese buildings like this one, which were home or workplaces for people with power, do you realize that when you see these 2 lions on either side and this little path with carved figures in the middle, you're in a very important place?
Also, the story of the Mu family is really interesting because the surname Mu means wood, and in feng shui it's said that wood needs space to grow. And that's why they decided not to build walls around the city, because otherwise they would be limiting both their city and the growth of their family. So you can get an idea of the strong influence that feng shui has throughout Chinese culture, regardless of which ethnic minority they're part of. Since they were Naxi, they had no connection to the Han.
Well, I think it worked for them because if they ruled for 3 dynasties, the wood really did expand.
This is the hall for official affairs and ceremonies. Let's say the ruler would sit here with his court. You could hold any meeting here, which is pretty epic.
It's important to be careful when you enter an old building like this. Many times I've been told they're Buddha's shoulders or something like that. I'm not entirely sure what they mean, but it's something very important. So be careful, don't trip over it, and definitely don't step on it or sit on it.
Looking at the buildings, you would never notice that they belong to the Naxi ethnic minority. Would you agree? Honestly, it looks a lot like the architecture in Beijing, and that's why it's said that the Mu family was a very important cultural bridge between the Han and the Naxi. And that's very much reflected in their architecture. If you told me I was in Beijing, I'd believe you. Can you imagine if all of this was for you and your family? Imagine how many children each one would have, right? I guess the cousins, uncles, and grandparents would all live here.
Just like it should be in all Chinese families. But even though in Chinese families, people often live together with cousins, grandparents, uncles, and siblings. They don't always have these kinds of buildings, but even if there are 30 of them, they live in one house.
And I also read that they have gardens like Suzhou, which is where we lived, and the gardens of Suzhou are very famous for being some of the most beautiful in the whole country. But apparently, here they have gardens inspired by those from that city, which is known as the Asian Venice.
I understand, but why would they put this type of architecture, which is also in Beijing, in this part of China? Because Yunnan, as we mentioned in another video, it's a region that was very far away and very isolated from the center of the Chinese Empire, where there were more resources and everything else. So why not bring something from that empire to this area here? Obviously, this is also a representation of power.
They wore such beautiful clothes back then, right?
But I feel like with this weather, I would get cold. Well, here's a sign that says we're entering the Jade Garden, which is on the 2nd floor inside the building. Wow, what a nice view from here.
People back then must have been really short because I'm about to hit my head. This is like a bridge through which the people who lived inside the Imperial Palace or the MU Mansion could pass and see the common people. Because this over here isn't the mansion, this is outside. So just imagine, could you walk through there? Suddenly the king of the Naxi might pass by and people would surely gather here to see him.
I think now I understand what they meant by the Jade Garden. Maybe this part here is the only thing, like, we can't imagine that this was even bigger. We thought it was on the 2nd floor of that building, but no, here is another huge garden with more epic buildings. I wonder if these trees were made to look like this, or if they grow naturally like that. I think they shaped them this way, right?
Looks like the bread from my honey snack earlier. How is that possible? What's the logic behind this? It's a spiral.
Right? And it keeps going up. Now I understand why it costs 40 yuan. When I read mansion, I thought they were referring to a building like this, but bigger.
Should we send the drone up instead of going ourselves, or do you want to go? Thanks. No, I can't stop saying it either, but every alley we see looks like it's straight out of a movie. I'd be surprised if they haven't filmed a series or a movie around here because it has an incomparable beauty. I really haven't seen any Starbucks, Luckin Coffee, or big chains here. I've seen a lot of small chains and I like that. It's like each cafe has its own style. And now we're arriving at what's known as Suzhongye. It's hard to tell. All the alleys are so unique and beautiful that I don't know which one is the special one to visit. Actually, I think the experience is about getting lost, going into different shops, but honestly I don't really like buying knickknacks, so I don't enjoy that part as much. I prefer to talk with the shopkeepers.
I do like buying knickknacks. Come on, let's go buy some knickknacks.
Noelia likes knickknacks.
My mom uses those bells, Mom.
Mom!
This is bells, Mom. Those bells, Mom. Bells. In Chinese, these Tibetan bowls are called Tianlai Jiyin, which translates as heavenly sound. That same expression can be used to describe extremely pleasant sounds, but it is also used for this instrument. I am...
Yes, I'm going to thank you. No, it's there. Thank you.
Is this carry-on? Yes.
It's better.
Is it the best?
Yes.
It's the best. How much time do you need?
Basically 10 days, 10 days.
That's his price.
They sell them for 200.
580.
This is factory made. This is factory made.
This isn't factory made.
Silver and copper.
Yeah. This is wonderful because they're handmade. Don't you want to take it to your mom?
Yeah, that would be cool.
I mean, if your mom uses them, that's perfect. It's a good gift. Monsi, go ahead. For you, from the teacher. This one's from the teacher, signed by him, with a special dedication for you. Does it have your name on it? Yes, it has everything. No.
Which one is your favorite?
Oh, it's very difficult.
They're very good.
Look at these old photos. He says it's from when he was 24 years old. So, is this from the industry? Yes, it's your house. It's from when CCTV, the Chinese television station, came to record him. They brought their giant camera, their professional microphones, and he welcomed them. Is this your wife? That's my son. That's your son. Wow! How beautiful.
I arrived at Shangri-La with Shangri-La.
We're going to Shangri-La. Very good. Very good. Is this your wife?
Yes.
What beautiful photos. And also, how does she keep them? It's incredible how time has passed, isn't it? Surely one day he woke up and was amazed at how much time had passed. The stories he must have seen and how different China must have been back then. Look. He had eagles and a dog.
Stronger than gay.
It's very good. Thank you, Professor. You're very welcome. It's my honor. Leaving home back then must have been completely different, right?
We didn't speak.
So you didn't speak the language, right? So how did you learn it? I learned, so you didn't want to learn?
No. Wow.
Yes.
I learned it here.
So how did you learn to write the language? My wife is learning to write the language because I also don't know how to write in the language. I only know how to speak it. You speak it very well. No, I'm still learning. I'm also learning slowly. For example, talking with you is...
I didn't speak it properly before either.
I also didn't speak standard, but at least I could communicate with you because I think your story is really interesting. So, were there a lot of classes back then, 24 years ago?
Yes.
Because China has developed so quickly, yes. It has changed a lot.
I got used to...
Can you understand this? Yes.
I understand.
It's from Naxi.
What's the language? Donba. Yes, Donba.
Can you understand Donba? Yes.
Donba. Wow.
How do you read?
Jilin Song.
Can you read Naxi? That's impressive. Look, here are the Naxi characters and he can read them all, but I thought they didn't have pronunciation. Maybe it's an interpretation, or maybe he can read them and pronounce them in Mandarin Chinese. Here's his photo, this is his autograph, and his contact number if you want bells.
So you can take pictures of him, and if you come to Lijiang, visit the shop.
In Naxi, how do you say thank you? Ju bai san, ju bai san. Okay, that's it. Lovely encounter. I never buy things on the street like this.
And you know what's funny? You were literally saying, the truth is, it's a shame that I don't like going into these stores or anything. And I told you, I do. Let's go buy something.
It's true. It's true. I was saying that I don't like buying trinkets, that I like talking to people, listening to their stories. And it turned out the shopkeeper was super interesting. It's one of those moments that gives me goosebumps because he showed me some photos of when he was 24 years old, and I was also fascinated because he can read pictographic language, which supposedly only experts can read nowadays. Also, while researching, I just discovered that there are scientific studies showing that the sound of these celestial bowls has health benefits. In fact, a study published in the Journal of Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine, which is basically the official journal of alternative and traditional medicine, it was found that these bowls, through their sounds and vibrations, activate the parasympathetic nervous system. I can't quite explain it, but being in the shop while he played his bowls was so relaxing. I even turned to Noelia and said, wow, this is really calming. Now we are in Sifanjie, which is the square of the four directions. You could say this is the historic heart of the old town of Lijiang. Originally, this was intended as a meeting point for the different trade routes that passed through here, such as the tea route and the horse route. And like the rest of the city, this square is also planned according to the principles of feng shui. The idea was for this to be a center of convergence for energy, or for qi, or however you want to see it, and for it to be distributed throughout the entire city. Look at this, they're doing a live broadcast, right? They're giving away money, you can win 16,000 yen or something like that. Wow, wow, hello. Where are you from? From Mexico and Spain. Where are you from?
He didn't understand anything. I'm this.
They're broadcasting and giving away prizes. You could win 1,000 yen or so.
He didn't understand anything.
Broadcast to win 1,000 yuan? This? Broadcast.
Win 1,000 yen, like win 1,000 yuan, something like that.
A broadcast.
To win.
1,000 yuan or something like that.
This, by doing live streaming.
To earn 1,000 yen or something.
Doing a live stream to earn 1,000. I came and asked you about the country. Something like that.
Doing a live stream.
And earning 1,000 yuan, something like that.
This.
A live stream to earn yuan.
Do you know what China's national treasure is?
This.
Broadcast, earn 1,000 yuan, something like that.
This.
Doing a broadcast 1,000 yuan or
Something like that.
watch a broadcast.
Earn 1,000 yuan.
Something like that.
Look at this. You can earn 1,000 from a stream. Yuan? This streaming to earn 1,000. Oh, I'm so young.
This.
Streaming like this to earn 1,000 yuan. Earning yuan by streaming like this.
This.
Streaming like this to earn 1,000 yen. Doing a stream to earn 1,000.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The sign carrier was about to come out behind me.
Like that.